Hello, hello. I am Julie, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the Pulp Tarot by Todd Alcott. Um, I was drawn to this deck because I love the concept and how well it was thought out. So even though the cards look drastically different from the Rider-Waite-Smith, you can see and you will see how well they follow it. Um, the box, now boxes don't matter, right? It's the deck, it's how they read, it's how they work. Is the imagery thought provoking? Does it make you, you know, want to learn more? Is it a good read, right? Those are the important things when it comes to tarot decks. Um, but this box is just the cutest thing ever. It looks like a book. And I love that. And I wish all boxes were this perfect and this size. And then I could just like line them up on my bookshelf and then pull them out as I need them. And they all are organized according to height, which would all ideally, in my little brain, be the same, but they are not. And I have to deal with giant boxes that serve no purpose for 200-page books that could be condensed down to maybe 50, but I digress. The only thing that's missing from this box is a magnetic closure, but again, who cares? It's a box. It's holding the cards. They're protected. That is fine. I do believe this came with a book. I think. I couldn't tell you where it is. I've had this deck for a while and I've used it a lot. So the book is somewhere in my house, but I cannot tell you if it came with one or it didn't come with one. The cardstock is fine. It's not the worst. It's not the best, but these have been used quite a bit and you can see they still look pretty darn good. They still look pretty darn good. So it's I guess it's a flimsier cardstock, but it means they're going to shuffle really well. The coating on it's super protective. So that means you're going to have a deck that's going to last you a while. And really, in the grand scheme of things, that's what's important. Let's see. Here's what they sound like when they riffle shuffle. It is a great shuffle. So you can get them shuffled really well without them clumping together. And I feel like these were pretty usable right out of the box. You know how a lot of decks you get and you have to like separate every individual card. I don't recall having to do that in here. But these are the beautiful cards, and I'm not going to talk too much more about the boxes because I'm going to go show you all of the suits. So onward to the Major Arcana. So here we have the Major Arcana for the Pulp Tarot. And as always, we start with the Fool. And this is very, very similar to the Rider-Waite-Smith. I really do like how he was able to visually bring the Major Arcana to life, staying true, very true to the Rider-Waite-Smith, but illustrating it very differently, but in a way that you can still read the exact same things into this deck if you understand the Rider-Waite-Smith. But even then, it's just like, look at Temperance. It's describing the card visually. So 1 foot on land, 1 in water. So 1 foot in the emotions, 1 grounded, which is that balance, the alchemy, the tempering, half man, half woman, masculine, feminine, balancing, tempering, alchemizing the masculine and the feminine. The middle path is right there. The crown of achievement is right there. The only thing missing are the irises. But still, even then, this really describes what this card is about. And I just think that is a really smart way to do it. Another thing I noticed when I was looking through the Major Arcana like this, and I always break it up into these 3 rows with the Fool on the outskirts, I really feel like this shows the High Priestess as the internal world of the Empress, and the Hierophant being the internal world of the Emperor, right? Like, this is very structured masculine spirituality, and this is very flowing feminine spirituality. And for some reason, this deck really allows me to see that more clearly. And I'm not sure what it is. I haven't quite put my finger on it. But there's just something, it's almost like these are the dark and the light of you know, the dark and the light of the feminine, and this is the dark and the light of the masculine. I don't know, and that's just really what it's making me feel, and I just think it's really interesting how it stands out to me in a way that it hasn't before with other decks. I also noticed the Lover's Death and Judgment. And, you know, the choice that we make in the Lovers leads to this death rebirth, right? Whether that's good or bad. So the judgment is dependent upon what we do during our rebirth and transformation. Um, you know, so if what you did during this transformative period is less than savory, you may have to go back to the beginning and start again, right? And, you know, until you end up getting out of that cycle. But if what you did during this transformation and rebirth really allows you to unearth all of the stuff that no longer works for you, you're going to complete this cycle. I also noticed the Empress above the Wheel of Fortune, above the star. And, you know, the Empress is in light and the star is in darkness. And this wheel brings the balance between the inner and the outer worlds. Like, this to me is really showing visually the inner and the outer world, and this constant um, in and out, like going in and out, like unearthing something, bringing it external, working through it, and then coming back in, bringing it out externally, working through it, or even taking something out and in reversed, something in the external world that we choose to suppress, and then we go back here, right? So that would sort of be going backwards. So I found that interesting, and it made me see this in a little bit of a different way. I was also looking at the moon and the sun. Um, the the two characters here look like they have a telescope and they're searching the stars, and the star that this is pointed towards is the sun obviously being a star. But it's like they're searching for their true selves, their feral selves, who they are without a mask on that they have to wear, you know, to fit in with society or whatever it may be. And so as they move from the darkness into light, they realize it's that inner child that needs to shine, that child, the person who we were before the weight of the world started to pin us down. Because sometimes that person that we're meant to be doesn't get a chance to shine through because of all the junk we had to deal with as children. And I really do like this world card. It does have the original Rider-Waite-Smith card right here, but this reminds me of a Pan Am ad, like the old school Pan American planes, flights, airline. Sorry, airline. I was missing that word for a second. It kind of reminds me of those old ads, and it reminds me of Pan Am for some reason, which is really awesome because when we complete this cycle and end up at the world, we are light and free enough to be able to explore anything and everything because we have a different comprehension and understanding of it. So those are the things that stand out to me within the major arcana here. And we will move on to the Pentacles next. Here we are with the Pentacles, Ace through King. And the Ace is pretty much like the Rider-Waite-Smith minus the hedgerow with the gate going through. The Two of Pentacles feels like this is somebody who's giving off the appearance of having it all together, but what's going on behind the scenes, right behind the mask emotionally, is things may be a little bit more rocky than they appear, and then they're letting on to. They may be juggling more, right? Than they may be letting on, but they're trying to like keep their composure and keep it together. The Four of Pentacles, I feel like it leads to the Five. He's obviously going down. He's in quicksand here. But, you know, he's going down, but he will not let go of this money, even if it leads to his demise. He is taking it with him. And in my head, this is his wife and child, and his selfishness has left them out in the cold and in need. So a kind stranger comes by, and this generosity of a stranger helps her get back on her feet, which allows her to multiply her money exponentially and really, grow and have a savings. Um, and then it's sort of like, what do I do with all of this, right? But that's sort of like this nice little story. It reads really well for me in these four cards. Um, the arrangement of the pentacles in the nine of pentacles makes me feel like the hard times that she experienced during the five, and here's the five, and during the four are what ultimately led her to her success and this sense of a um, strength, being stronger because of everything that she has created for herself, but knowing that it came through the generosity of a um, of a stranger. I love the Ten of Pentacles. It is like the 1950s version of the Ten of Pentacles. Just it's like mid-century modern Ten of Pentacles, and I really like that. I can still take a lot of it that I would take from the Rider-Waite-Smith. I don't really think it changes all that much, to be honest with you. It's just this like kind of really cool version of it. This page, to me, feels like she's ready to set out and plant new seeds. You know, I feel like it's her. She's changed her outfit. She's stepped outside, and she's ready to take some of that coinage and start again and multiply it even more. It's sort of this sense of nothing's going to stop me. I can do it all. She just feels like she sees this opportunity and she's just so focused on it. Nothing's going to stop her. The Queen of Pentacles feels as if she's living this very lavish lifestyle, but she still wants to give back. She is still offering up money to help others in need, sort of repaying, paying it forward, right? From what she had to go through when she was in hard times, and she wants to give back. But this king seems kind of very engrossed in his self-indulgent lifestyle, you know, collecting art, and he's just watching her do her thing. um, while both of these tend to be generous or can be read as generous, in this deck, I feel like he's definitely more stingy and more focused on himself, where as this queen is the one who is giving back to others because of everything she had to go through. So that is the suit of pentacles, and we will go on to the cups next. Here we are at the cups, ace through king, and the ace of cups here remains very true to the Rider-Waite-Smith. This two of cups, I do feel he has taken the offer of the ace to help balance out his active energy, because it feels like he may need some fluidity and to loosen up and to go with the flow more. And he's ready to finally entertain this other aspect of himself, knowing that doing so can lead him to some more abundance in his life, to better balance out everything within his life. Especially if he finds himself getting stuck, he may need to bring in something else. So it's sort of a positive feeling because he's waking up that he may need more. But if we overindulge in the Three of Cups, it leads to the Four, where she has quite obviously overindulged. She looks extremely hungover, and she wants nothing more to do with what's in that cup, right? Um, so that leads to the Five, where we're regretting our decisions of overindulging, and we could be what ifing, like, what if I did this differently? What if I did that differently? But when we're in the Five of Cups, right, it's always important to remember that we can move on. We can change things. We just have to let go of what happened, not focus on it, and like start with a clean slate. So that's how these cards read to me. That's like the little story that I feel when I see them. The Six of Cups is sort of like, I like the nostalgic feeling of it with the cartoon. Sort of like, okay, I got to get out of this headspace. So let me just, what made me happy? Like, what makes me happy? And this makes me think of like, okay, I'm going to get over this by thinking about the things that do make me happy so I can make better choices going on. The Nine of Cups, I kind of feel like she is the the sister of the Nine of Pentacles, and she's like the hard partier who the Nine of Pentacles may often judge as doing nothing with her life, right? I don't know why I feel that, but they feel like very different cards to me. And I feel like the Nine of Pentacles would be very judgmental of her Nine of Cups sister, because this whole suit has more of a feeling of just fun and letting go and going with the flow, that watery energy, going with what you feel, right? I love that the 10 of Cups is this family togetherness. This page feels very young, very fresh. She's ready to try anything. Her head may be in the clouds a little bit. She may be a little bit naive, but and that could lead her to trouble. But she just seems like she is ready to explore all the different aspects of herself and whatever kind of comes up. This guy is a creative genius. Like, he's just out there doing his thing, not caring what anybody else thinks, and he is just moving forward with his incredible creativity. I do wish I saw that kind of creative genius. Like, here we're starting to explore that, and then here we start to embrace it. I wish I had seen more of that in these two cards. The Queen of Cups is a miss for me in this deck. I don't feel like it's as effective as it could be, because she seems like way too absorbed in her soap opera to care about anything. Maybe that's what the author was trying to say. If I had my little book or could find it, I would be able to tell you. But I don't know. This just feels like a big miss compared to the rest of the suit for me. And, this king seems very self absorbed too. Yeah, I really do wish I saw some of the creative energy here be able to be expressed in these two cards. But that is not how it is. So we shall move on. Anyway, so moving on, Wands is next. Here is the suit of Wands, Ace through King. The Ace is pretty straightforward, very similar to the Rider-Waite-Smith. The Two of Wands, I really like how he's looking towards the future as opposed to the past in the Rider-Waite-Smith. It just feels like it's really setting up this forward momentum of the three. The Four of Wands is truly a proper celebration of the path that we have finally planned out and are committing to. So this is that final celebration before we take off into the great unknown, right? I always feel like these are the explorers of the world. The Wands are the explorers of the world. Let's see. I feel like in this Eight of Wands, there's a little woman down in this corner, and there's a man too, but I feel like this woman is saying goodbye to the man who defended her honor here. Perhaps she was out without her husband, and this man had to defend her honor. So, it's sort of like Superman, thank you for saving me, Superman. And then he goes off onto his next journey. And here she is saying goodbye to the Seven, the man in the Seven. But then when we get to the Nine, it's sort of like, okay, so she may be safe, but what happened to her is very traumatizing. Like, I feel like she's still very traumatized by this whole experience over here. And because of that, she's carrying around this weight because she hasn't let it go. It's sort of weighing her down. It's burdening her. It's forcing her to carry stuff on her shoulders that she doesn't really need to. I like the Knight of Wands. This just relays pure excitement and drive and a zest for life to me. And I really feel the king and queen here represent the energy of the suit. This queen, though, she's very enticing. It's like she's beckoning you in. She's like, come in, let's have some fun together. Let's go explore, right? Like she's going to be your tour guide and you are going to have a blast. And she's a little mysterious at the same time. And this king is he's just burning it all down. He's just, you don't like it, he's going to burn it all down. He's going to watch it burn, and he's going to have a party at the same time. So I really like this suit of wands. I think it's very effective, stays very true to the Rider-Waite-Smith, and that is all I have for this suit. So on to the swords. Suit of swords, ace through king. This suit definitely remains very true to the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. What I will say is this seven of swords, though, I like that she does seem to be stealing the swords, but we don't know, is she stealing them or is she taking them back, right? She's holding five swords, so it makes me think that during this battle in the five of swords, perhaps she had these stolen from her, and here she is taking them back, right? And it's kind of like, should I steal them back? Is that right? Is that wrong? Like, what do I do? But here it does seem like she's taking back her ideas, her thoughts, her passions, whatever it is. She's taking them back from the person who stole them from her. So I do like that. Let's see, the queen, it gives me a very Joan of Arc feel, but I feel like this queen is very, very, very connected to a higher power. That light beaming down on her looking up at the sky, ready to charge forward. She is driven and determined, and she feels like she is a woman of honor. She is somebody who really stays true to her word, and she is going to fight for her morals and her values. She puts her money where her mouth is, and she walks the walk, right? From the talk that she talks. And what I find interesting about this king is I feel like he's about to be initiated into a secret society for higher thinking. Like a Mason or the Rosicrucians. I feel like he's being initiated into a secret society. So that's what I have for the swords. This deck, it really is pretty much on par with the Rider-Waite-Smith. I absolutely love this deck, and I recommend it for beginners. If you want something that's a little bit different, that stays true, the symbolism in here, a lot of it's true to the Rider-Waite-Smith, a lot of it changes, but this is a great beginner deck if you're looking for an alternate deck. This deck has been used so many times, and while it's a fun deck, I still get really serious readings from it. It's not kitschy or cartoony. The images, like I said, they do read true to the Rider-Waite-Smith, but in a totally reimagined way. And I feel like that is a really big part of the charm and the charisma of this deck. Beginner friendly. It's an overall hit for me, and it's part of my permanent collection. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up. And I would love to know what you think about this deck. Do you own it? Have you used it? Thoughts and opinions are always appreciated. Have a great day.